Welcome to the Two Geeks and a Microphone podcast, your one-stop shop for television, movie, video games, comic books, book reviews, and more. Now, without further ado, here's Steven and Mike.
Welcome, everyone, to another fantabulous episode of Two Geeks and a Microphone. I am your co-host, Stephen Boster, along with the one, the only, Mr. Michael Shanks.
Good morning to all you geeks out there in geekdom land.
All right. Well, we are here today to discuss an interesting character. And it is going to be all about Constantine. So Mike and I we were discussing Constantine. And if you caught on our Ko-fi page, we recently posted kind of us watching one of the Constantine movies or the animated things. And so we said we would be doing an episode on Constantine. That was our research. We've been joking about that. We do research, kind of a thing, and reviewing stuff. And so we thought, you know what? Constantine is an interesting character. We both love Matt Ryan as Constantine. We had talked about that. We are going to
fantastic. He is great.
He did a great job. And so we wanted to talk all things Constantine. And one of the things that I think got me on the concept or the idea is that when Neil Gaiman's whole story comic line is there, I think not Amazon, is Sandman. They're making a Sandman series. And I was like, well, isn't Constantine in that Sandman series? Or that's part of the same universe, the same world. And so Mike and I briefly talked about it. And in the process of that, we were like, let's talk Constantine, since we were like that.
So Sandman, that's going to be on Amazon as not the DC part of the DC hub, part of HBO Max. Then,
hang on, let me double check. Neil,
I don't know. That's the reason I'm asking.
Sandman. It's not Amazon.
Oh, okay.
It's. Hang on a second.
Is it HBO Max?
Do what?
Is it HBO Max? Because they're the ones that has all the rights. Well, most of the rights to the DC stuff.
It is Netflix.
Oh, okay, Netflix. And I guess that's because technically Sandman falls under the Vertigo line, which is a kind of a weird ownership thing. They're kind of like a subsidiary out of Warner Brothers, DC, I guess.
Right.
I'm not sure how the legality on that works, but I'm guessing that's how it's a Netflix series instead of a HBO Max series then.
Gotcha.
Because it's Vertigo.
Yeah. Now here's something interesting. Okay, so sorry, I apologize for the dead air, everybody, because I'm kind of like, what? In the Sandman series, Jenna Coleman, the actress, is playing John Constantine.
What?
So Constantine is going to be in the Sandman, but
it's not Matt Ryan.
It's not Matt Ryan.
That's disappointing, though.
Right.
Okay, I've never read Sandman. I know nothing about Sandman whatsoever. So,
right.
And I can see where Constantine would fall well within the Sandman universe. Just being the, magic, occultic, that type of character. I see that fitting in pretty well with that, but I had no idea that he was a part of that universe, so that should be interesting.
It will be interesting. I think it will. So let's go back. Who is John Constantine? Who is John Constantine? How does one define John Constantine.
I'll tell you how I define him. I define him as the Dresden of the DC universe. He's okay. Harry Dresden of the DC universe. And, Harry Dresden was kind of my favorite magician. My daughter's big into Harry Potter. And,
right.
And nothing against Harry Potter. Harry Potter's fine. But I always used to joke. I'm like, no, you want a real magician? You want Harry Dresden. You got the wrong Harry. That's the problem. And I look at Constantine. He's almost just like Dresden. I mean,
okay. So for those that don't know, Harry Dresden is from the Dresden Files novels, which is by Jim Butcher.
Jim Butcher. Yes.
Yes.
Fantastic books. I've read, I think, 5 of the 12.
I think 17.
Oh, 17. Okay. I've read like 5 of them, and the ones that I've read, they're just great. They're fantastic. I love that character. We'll be doing a Dresden episode sometime in the future.
Okay.
I got to do a little more homework on him, but yeah, because I haven't read it in quite some time. I'm a little rusty on my Dresden facts and such, but yeah. Mm-hmm. But he, the actor who played Dresden on the TV series, unfortunately short-lived TV series that was on Sci-Fi back in 2007, he played in Arrow. He was the
Lance, Sarah Lance, and Dinah Lance,
right?
Or the dad, and the police chief, or
the police
detective,
chief.
Or something like that.
But I had the hardest time when he was introduced on Arrow. I had the hardest time separating him from Dresden because that's all I could see was Dresden.
Right. So Dresden magician, Constantine. I would say more occultist.
Yeah, sure.
For Constantine,
but see,
trench coat.
Dresden falls into that category too. He really does. If you read the books, he falls into it.
Yeah, that's a good call.
They're very similar. Dresden's more of a detective. But see, Constantine's kind of a detective too, in a way.
Sure. He's trying to figure out what's going on, or, and he's always bumping into the supernatural, the dark side of the supernatural, I dare say.
So, yeah, I think there's a lot of parallels to the two characters, which is why I like Constantine.
So, what was your first introduction to Constantine?
I would have to say, I think it was the Constantine TV series.
Okay.
I think that's the first time.
Ryan.
Yeah, with Matt Ryan. Because I've never read any of the comic books. I know there's...
which was called Hellblazer.
Yeah, the original one was Hellblazer. And then he did have a solo series, Constantine, named Constantine. And a little bit of research that I did with this, I didn't realize this, but the Constantine character was actually introduced in 1985 in the Swamp Thing series.
Oh, that explains the connection.
With the Swamp Thing and the Green.
Swamp Thing, okay.
Yeah. So
interesting.
I thought that was interesting, and I didn't know that. I think when I was a kid, I think I bought 1 or 2 Swamp Thing comic books because I thought he was a cool looking character. It's like, oh, this guy looks awesome, right. and I think Swamp Thing at that time was just way over my head, and I just didn't quite get it. I'm like, I don't quite get this character, So I never bought any more, but I always thought he was cool looking.
That makes sense because, Hellblazer always had similar looking covers or imprint. I don't know if it was a DC imprint, what that was called, but it was the same as Sandman. It was the same imprint, that style. So that makes me think, okay, that makes sense where there's probably a crossover. Because, we talked about that, how comics always introduce other characters in other comics because they're trying to get you to get on those series. And so... Interesting.
And I do have a trade paperback of Hellblazer.
Do you?
Yeah, I got it a couple years ago. I just haven't gotten around to reading it. Look, I got a lot on my reading list. I got a whole lot on my reading list.
Yeah, there's only so much time.
Yeah.
Here, my first introduction to Constantine was the Keanu Reeves movie.
Yeah, I never watched it.
Yeah, I've always enjoyed, kind of exorcists, kind of, shows to a certain degree. Not the super horror ones, kind of a thing. Exorcist itself was interesting. That I'm okay with, but super horror where it's a lot of bloody, and I'm not into blood horror. But Constantine I like because one, I like Keanu Reeves.
Oh, wait a minute. So are you telling me you don't like Halloween? Michael Myers?
I've seen the first one. I have not seen any of the other ones.
Well, the first one's pretty much the best, honestly.
Right. Yeah, it's not my go-to genre.
Because Halloween Kills is coming out this year, and
right,
Megan and I are going to see that.
Yeah. Well, I think the interesting thing about that is you've got Jamie Lee Curtis who comes back.
Oh yeah. Well, yeah, she came back in the last one too, and the last one kind of cut off all of them past the original one. So it's like you had the original 1978, and then after that, none of them exist anymore because it just kind of got rid of them.
Oh. All right. So let me get back to Keanu Reeves. So Keanu Reeves, that one, and I like Rachel Weisz, who's married to James Bond, Daniel Craig.
Okay.
They were really good. It was an interesting concept behind the film to introduce you to, and here he is, always smoking, casting out demons, or something weird's happening. Shia LaBeouf was in it as his cab driver and stuff. He wasn't all that good in it, I didn't think, but I didn't really care about his character, I guess. Let me put it that way. But the concept of what was going on in the story was really interesting. And he would bump into Keanu Reeves' character as John Constantine. Introducing that character, John Constantine, was like he would bump into demons or different ones, and they say, "Yes, John Constantine, the man whom the devil himself will come up in order to take his soul." Devil himself will come up, kind of a thing. And the film was interesting. The Tilda Swinton, I think, is the actress, plays Gabriel. Interesting twist that they did on that concept of the supernatural universe. What's interesting is they tried to base it in biblical concepts, but it's not biblical at all. Kind of thing. They didn't stick. Because they bring up the Catholic concept that if you kill yourself, you go to hell. That's the premise. And Rachel Weisz has a sister who trying to figure out where she's at or what's going on. Only to find out that, the issue was that her and her sister have this quote unquote gift or curse that they can see dead people, kind of a thing.
Wait a minute. Demons. I see dead people?
No, not that kind of I see dead people, but demons.
I did like that movie. That was a good movie.
Sixth Sense was good.
Yeah.
It was really good, interesting story. And I was like, this is an interesting character. This is a guy who, does magic or black magic, but he's using black magic for good purposes, or he's using the occult for good purposes, or, seemingly, or you have to use the occult to get rid of the occult. And it's like, how interesting. So at the time, I didn't realize it was a comic book until it was like based on the character in DC Comics. I'm like, what? Kind of a thing. And then I began, because you don't see at that time there wasn't anything called Constantine. It was Hellblazer,
right?
And or based on the Hellblazer comic books. And I was like, interesting. And then I did not read the comics, and I don't know why, to be honest.
Probably because you couldn't afford to buy them at the time.
That's probably correct. That was about the time that comics were getting a little bit more expensive.
That probably was that in your college days too.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so that's probably why. I don't know about you, but there were points in my life where I just wasn't buying comic books because I had other things that I had to spend money on, like kids and family. Right? Yeah, exactly. So, I remember the movie coming out, and I thought it might be interesting looking, but it never looked interesting enough that I was like, okay, I gotta go see this. It was kind of like one of those things okay, I'll catch it later. I'll catch it on DVD, whatever. And it just got put off and put off. And then when the TV series came out, and I saw that,
I saw the trailer, I was like, I've got to watch this.
Oh yeah, it looked incredible. And I think it was you that had reminded me that there was a movie with Keanu Reeves. Mm-hmm. And as soon as you said that, and I had watched the TV series with Matt Ryan. Yeah, Matt Ryan. I was like, yeah, I don't think I can watch anything else without him.
Yeah, I thought Matt Ryan just did a fabulous job. Let me make a couple of corrections here. One, the movie came out in 2005, so maybe that's why, because when I collected it was early 90s, late 80s, right. Early 90s. And so maybe I just didn't realize at the time. I remember Hellblazer, but I was just like, nah, that's kind of dark, and I'm not into horror. Horror is not really my genre. Overall. So that's Constantine was 2005. But when the TV series came out, when Matt Ryan played Constantine, I was hooked. Yeah. Plain and simple. Yeah. I was hooked. I was intrigued. The first episode was good. I enjoyed it. I was like, okay, I got to see more. But the second episode on, I was totally into it. I was like, yep, I got to keep watching this series. I really enjoy it. I enjoy the characters. They do a little bit of introduction of the house, right. Kind of thing. And for those that may not know, the house is mystical in its own sense because it's like a repository of all bad things occultic or something.
Well, and the cool thing is he actually has Dr. Fate's helmet, which is pretty amazing. And if you don't know anything about the character Dr. Fate, anyone who puts that helmet on goes completely and totally insane. So it's pretty dangerous that he has that helmet. And in the TV series, the girl, I can't think of what it's been so long since I watched it now. I don't remember all the characters' name. But at one point, she sees the helmet and she goes to touch it. And he's like, don't touch that. Do not touch that thing.
What's interesting is he's coming, Dr. Fate, in the movies.
Oh, he's coming in the movies?
He is. Guess who's going to play him?
I have no idea who.
Pierce Brosnan.
No way. Oh my gosh. Oh, that's going to be good. See that. That's going to be really good.
Yeah.
'Cause, Dr. Fate, the helmet is basically an Egyptian god. And more or less anyone who puts the helmet on is then taken over by that Egyptian god.
Uh-huh.
And they usually anyone who has put the helmet on, they later, if they can get it off, they go insane. They just go completely and totally insane.
It's the Black Adam movie.
No way.
Yeah.
Oh, that's where Dr. Fate's getting introduced.
Uh-huh.
Oh my gosh. He's going to go up against Black Adam?
I don't know.
Oh.
I don't know how it's going to
I was already excited about Black Adam, but now, because Dr. Fate is a powerful character. That's, oh gosh, I can't wait.
Right. Okay. Sorry, everybody. So Constantine has helmet, Dr. Fate. That should be interesting.
Right. So that's just one of the examples of some of the artifacts.
The artifacts, yes, that he has. Yes. Oops, sorry. I bumped my little microphone there. Sorry, everybody. So Constantine, as I said, I've always been interested in the aspect of the unseen realm, or the mystical, the supernatural, kind of a thing. And not the horror stuff, but just, yes, I've watched exorcism movies, those kinds of things. But the Constantine, I like the aspect of, one, he's sarcastic.
Yeah.
He's blunt, and he's a jerk. But he's a jerk because I think he's so direct in what needs to be done and just getting it done and taken care of. He doesn't mince words, and he just gets the job done.
Sure. Yep.
And I think that's the issue. When he's a jerk, I think the issue is he's like, enough small talk. Let's just get it done. Let's just move forward and make this happen. And I think that's what I enjoy about his character. While he may not be in instance of someone who may be a salesman, hey, everybody, kind of a, be in groups or that kind of a thing, but he is a job or he is the guy who just wants to make sure the job happens and let's not mess around. Because I think it's the aspect of lives matter. I think he's got this great pull of saving people, saving lives as best as he can from the demonic. Now we get some of that backstory, and I don't know how much of it is canon, for lack of a better term. But when we watched City of Demons, we saw the aspect that he was dinking around with the occult, fancied himself as a magician early in his age, and lost a girl to the depths of darkness or whatever. And because he thought he could handle it, only to realize this was bigger than what he thought.
Right.
I wonder if that tragedy is what drives him, kind of like Batman losing his parents, and that drove him, if it's the same for Constantine.
I think you're right. I think that's exactly. I mean, again, like you said, as far as canon goes, I don't know if his origin is the same in the comic books as it was in that animated movie. So I kind of got to take the animated movie as at least my head canon of where Constantine begins.
Sure, your personal headcanon.
Right. So I do. So I believe you're right. I think that is what drives him to be who he is. I think that is why he is so direct. He doesn't play around, that's I think that leads even into his drinking, because he obviously has a drinking problem.
Yeah.
And I think it could play into his chain smoking too. He's constantly got to have that cigarette.
Yeah, in the Keanu Reeves movie, that's the issue. That's what he's dying from. He smoked so much, and his liver is all screwed up and stuff.
Oh, that makes sense. Liver damage and lung cancer.
Yes, and that's kind of what catches up with him.
Wow.
And then at the ending scene, spoiler alert, come on, it's a 2005 movie, 16 years ago, okay?
Sure.
But so I know you haven't seen it, Mike. Do you want me to tell the story?
Oh, no, you're fine. Go ahead. Okay. So, I don't know if I can watch the Keanu Reeves. I don't know if I can see Ted. Or no, is he Bill or Ted? I always forget which one he was.
Oh.
Dude.
So he dies. He's dying and something like that. And at the end, he's got this big battle, and he exhausts himself, and then guess who coming to take his soul? Kind of a thing.
Satan.
And so just as he's dying, kind of a thing, Satan is coming up just to watch him. And it's a great actor who plays, I can't remember his name, but he's just a phenomenal actor who's playing a great dark, character. He's in a suit and, is sitting there talking to him. And then as he's dying, all of a sudden it looks like he's they're in a hospital kind of area, and it kind of opens up, and it's like, oh, he's going to heaven. He sees his soul, and he's going up, and he looks back at Satan and flips him the bird as he's going up. So Satan gets mad, and so Satan grabs him. It looks like right into his body to get his like his liver in his lungs, and he heals him so that he lives. It's because he's like, I'm going to get you. So you're going to get a second chance to continue to screw it all up, and I'm going to get you, kind of a thing.
Nice.
It's a neat scene. It's pretty funny because he just leans back and goes, "Give me the bird. See you later."
That's pretty funny.
It was pretty funny. And so that's kind of what happens. But eventually, it is because of that, the drinking and the chain smoking, that's what's.
Well, you didn't watch Justice League Dark 2 Apocalypse Wars, did you?
No, I want to.
There's a similar scene to that because he dies and he comes to, and he's on the other side, and Zantana's there, and he's like, "Wait a minute, how did I make it here?" And she goes, I pulled some strings. Now, obviously, we don't believe in that sort of thing, but
no, it's
funny. It's funny to think about.
We don't get too bent out of shape.
I pulled some strings. Yeah, you had to pull a lot of strings to get him there.
Right.
Because he's one messed up dude.
If some of we're talking this whole motivation thing for him. If some of that is, the works that he is doing is trying to figure out some kind of redemption arc. He's a grumpy redemption arc kind of a thing, because of how he screwed up, and knows that he deserves whatever fate he gets, but still trying to make up for it.
Yeah, I agree with that. I think you got it right on, spot on there. Spot on.
Plethora of characters with Constantine. I did find it interesting in City of Demons how. Excuse me. I don't know where that came from.
Dude, you falling asleep in the middle of the Constantine episode?
I know, right? What's going on with that? No,
you were excited about this, man.
I know, I am. I don't know what the story is.
Just to let everyone know, Steven made it known how excited I was to do the Batman, the 89 Batman stuff with the new Flash. Steven was kind of like this with Constantine. Maybe not quite, hey, we got to talk about this, but he was pretty excited about this. So.
Because, well, yes. And the plethora of characters was, in City of Demons, you had to introduce me and let me know about Jason Blood.
Oh, yeah.
And I was like, oh, he's part of this universe too. I didn't realize that. Then we get the story of him,
let's talk about Jason Blood in case our audience doesn't know who Jason Blood is.
Oh, good call.
So Jason Blood is part of the character. Okay, I'm going to mess his name up because I never get it right, even though I'm a fan of this character.
Etrigan.
Etrigan is a demon, and actually, if you would read the original DC Who's comic books, again, giving my age away, right. DC Who's Who was an awesome resource.
A through Z
of all the characters of DC, and it gave you a breakdown.
It was several issues too.
Yeah, it was awesome. And man, if you were playing role-playing games with the DC characters, it was the perfect companion to a role-playing game. Because it gave all their attributes and everything. But anyway, if you read the breakdown of Etrigan, he is actually the third ranking demon in hell to Satan himself.
Whoa.
Yeah. So Etrigan is tied to Jason Blood. It's almost a Incredible Hulk, Bruce David Banner situation. Sure. Bruce can't survive without the Hulk. The Hulk can't survive without Bruce. Same thing. Etrigan. Well, we do find out Etrigan does survive, but Jason Blood can't survive without him, because Jason Blood, we find out in City of Demons, he was a knight, like in the 1400s or whatever.
The Middle Ages.
In the Middle Ages. And he was killed in a battle during that time, and Merlin, the magician, who had ties to Etrigan, actually tied the two of them together, which kept Jason Blood alive. So Jason Blood has been able to live for centuries because of Etrigan. So now, and Etrigan speaks only in riddles.
In rhyme.
Right, in rhymes.
It's awesome.
Yeah, he's fantastic.
He speaks in rhyme.
And Constantine hates that. Constantine just absolutely hates it.
Yeah.
And I find it funny because it annoys him.
Right? So let's get back. So I want to talk about Matt Ryan, because that's what the Constantine TV series was just fabulous. Oh, yeah. And we got the interesting twist in the series at the end. We did research it, everybody. If you want to see Constantine, I think you have to buy it now.
Yeah, I don't think it's streaming anywhere. Not that I know of, anyway.
It's not. Well, I don't think it's streaming. Eventually, I wonder if they'll. No, because it was done. But I don't know if it'll be on DC.
I don't think so, because I think Constantine was on. It was on either CBS,
like NBC or something like that, right?
Right. So it was under a different contract. So I don't think it's actually owned by Warner Brothers, at least not in the aspect that the Flash, Arrow, the Berlanti-verse. It's not in the Berlanti-verse.
Berlanti-verse, I love it. Yes, good call.
Berlanti is the guy who does all of the CW DC shows.
Now here's the thing, but here's where I need your help. Is Constantine showed up in Legends of Tomorrow?
Yes, he did.
So tell me about that. How often was he in the show? A lot, or just every now and then? Or
okay, so he came in. Man, I can't remember what season we're on in Legends. He came in a couple seasons ago, and sorry if you hear fireworks. My neighbors are shooting off fireworks.
Oh, now we're good. I don't hear anything.
It's 11 o'clock in the morning, and they're shooting off fireworks.
Why are you shooting off fireworks at 11 o'clock in the morning?
I don't know. You know? People around me are weird.
Even in the darkness.
Yeah, they shoot it off all times of day. Anyway, it's the pain.
At least you better hope those are fireworks.
All right. Well, anyway,
continuing on Legends of Tomorrow.
So yeah, he made an appearance on Legends of Tomorrow. At first, it was almost like, is he going to stay? What's going to happen? And that first season he was on there, I think he was only on like a few episodes. But now he's a regular reoccurring character. He is a part of the cast now. He is a regular part of the cast, where before it was he kind of came in to help with a little more of the, if they have like an occult type character, because Legends of Tomorrow is kind of like a Freak of the Week type of series. Each week they take on a new challenge, and they'll go after a monster or something per se. So they kind of brought him in because they knew that he was popular from his TV series, and they thought that he would work well in this format of the DC universe.
And did he work well in that format?
I think he did. I like him better on his solo show because I think it's slightly different. It's a little more dark.
Sure.
It feels like it's more. It feels like it's taken a little more seriously.
Sure, like a serious procedural drama.
Right.
Okay.
Not to say that there's anything wrong with Legends, because I enjoy Legends, but it's a very silly premise.
So a little more campy premise.
Yes. I mean, all right.
Or, hey, we're here to have fun. Hey, this is an action film, but we're having fun, kind of a thing. Not a serious tone.
Well, to describe the tone of Legends, I'm going to give spoiler alert in case you haven't seen, what was it, season 1, I think, of Legends.
I've seen season 1 and 2.
So you know about the Teddy Ruxpin, gosh, I can't remember what they call him in there. The character's almost like Teddy Ruxpin, the teddy bear, from the 80s, where you put the cassette tape in it and he talks to you and and all this stuff. Well, they have a something like that in the Legends universe. Okay, there's a character like that, and at the end of one of the seasons, that character comes to life and he's gigantic. It's almost like the Stay Puft Marshmallow Man from Ghostbusters.
All right. Okay.
I think it's Weebo. I think that's what his name is. It's a very silly name. But so they're fighting a giant teddy bear, Teddy Ruxpin, more or less. Okay, that kind of gives you the feel of Legends. It's a very silly premise. So Constantine's slightly different over here, but he's still pretty much the same.
That was season 3, by the way. Okay, because I was like, I don't remember Teddy and Bebo.
It was hilarious. It was so funny. I loved it. I know there's a lot of people that did not like it, and I guess if
or
Weebo, that's it.
Weebo. Not Weebo.
Weebo. And he would say that Weebo. It was hilarious. So, yeah, that's kind of where we were at in Legends, and So he's still himself, though. He's still the drinking, chain smoking, smart aleck character that we know from both the Constantine TV series and from the animated films. He is still the same character.
Okay.
So just slightly toned down, I would say.
Right. Well, here's the thing: that Constantine, those animated films are all rated R.
Oh yeah, they are definitely.
FYI, everybody. So if you haven't seen it,
well, and that's not the first for DC. DC's had some other rated R animated.
Oh
stuff.
Yeah,
and usually it has to do with violence and a little bit of language. Is usually what it is. We might get a slight, not over the top nude scene or something. I don't remember seeing anything like that. But there are
some innuendos in that one.
Killing Joke, we got something that I didn't want.
Right, that's a whole nother subject. We've already discussed that. We're not taking it. Don't bring it up here.
Just
the trauma returns.
Yeah, yeah. I was as much traumatized by that scene as I was Dr. Manhattan, and yeah.
Right. So, excuse me, talk about them being rated R and everything. It is for the violence and gore to a certain degree.
Yeah.
Kind of a thing. With Justice League Dark, how shall I say this? It was an interesting film because it was introducing Constantine, who was Constantine, and you get to see Batman team up with Constantine. How cool was that?
That was pretty awesome. I love Batman, so he's one of my all-time favorite characters, period. And to see him thrown in with Constantine, and I love how Batman doesn't believe in any of the magic stuff, and he's just like, this is all crap.
Right.
And to see him get thrown into certain situations was a lot of fun. It was.
And how his gadgets were still able to help out.
Darn right.
Magic wars, magic battles.
Darn right. You always got to have bat gadgets.
That's right. That's right, by golly. So with Constantine, as I don't know how I would describe him as far as like a pinnacle character in the realm of the magic side of the DC universe. In other words, I think he's the linchpin. In other words, he's the connective tissue. Because can you connect everybody in the mystical realm of DC to Constantine in some way?
I think at this point you probably can. Because they all seem to know him. And I think that's because he's battled so much, so many demons and everything. I think pretty much any occultic type character that we get, magical, occultic, however you want to say it, I think they're all going to have some kind of connection towards Constantine at some point. So I think that's a good call. Linchpin is a good description of him. I think that's a good place to start with him.
Because I think the thing was, I was trying to figure out, okay, well, there's Justice League Dark, Apocalypse War, which I said I haven't watched yet, but I want to, and you referenced that. But I was like, well, it seems to, with the commercials, or the trailer, excuse me, the trailers for it, it's taking all of Justice League, are all involved in this big battle. So technically, why is it dark? Is it because they also include Constantine and then the whole mystical side?
Well,
in that,
yeah, I think if you go into that second film with Justice League Dark mentality coming out of the first film, I think you're going to be a little disappointed. Because the only characters from the first film is Zatanna and Constantine.
Okay.
However, I think the reason they call it dark still is because it relies a lot on Raven from the Teen Titans.
Oh, okay. Sure.
And we all know who Raven's father is. He's Trigon.
Who is Raven's father?
Raven's father is Trigon, who is another demon from hell. Big bad, one of the Titans' biggest enemies. So if Raven's in it, guess what? Trigon's in it.
Sure. And if Trigon's in it, then Constantine's in it.
Right. So, yeah.
Like 7 degrees to Kevin Bacon at 7 degrees to Constantine.
Trigon's tied more to the Titans than he is Constantine. But Trigon knows who Constantine is. Mm-hmm. And yeah, there's some interesting things that happen between Trigon and Constantine, and this is I won't give it away, especially since you haven't watched it yet. But yeah, if you go into it thinking, okay, this is Justice League Dark, like the first Justice League Dark animated film. I haven't read any of the comic books because there is a comic book series of Justice League Dark, and there was talk of a live action film. I don't know if DC is still going ahead with it or not, and I hope they do, because I would really like to see that, and I would love to see Matt Ryan come in as Constantine in that. I know you and I had this discussion off air, and you're like, no, he can't do that because he's the TV universe, but I don't care. I do not care if he's TV universe.
Yeah, he's a great Constantine.
Yeah, he's awesome.
I mean, unless they bring Keanu Reeves back, there's rumors, but those are just rumors.
Anyway, so if you go into that thinking that
John Wick is Constantine, what's up with that?
I haven't watched those either.
Oh, that's like Hitman stuff. You know how I love those spy Hitmans.
I want to watch John Wick. I just haven't done it yet. That's again, right. It's on my list, and I just haven't got to it. I've heard a lot of good things about it.
The first one was really good, very different, and I think that's what set it apart. The second one was not too bad. Okay. And the third one was really, really delving into creating the world.
All I know is apparently he really loves his dog, so.
He really loves his dog.
But anyway, you're a Justice League fan, so I think with that, you're going to enjoy this film. So really, it's a Justice League movie. It really is. It's really a Justice League film. I think they got the dark title because of the fact that you have Constantine, you have Zatanna, and then it delves into Raven and her father also. But then you have Darkseid in it, and Darkseid's great, and it delves into the story of Darkseid and him basically destroying the Earth, and certain things happen to some of the characters, and we see a different Batman in this. By the way, Batman has one of the coolest Batman suits in this one, too. I love it. He's got this black and red Batman suit. It's almost the Batman Beyond, but a little different. And I'm just like, that is a freaking cool suit.
Oh, okay. I got to look at it.
Wouldn't mind an action figure of it.
I hear you.
It always comes back to what makes a cool action figure. That would make a cool action figure, I have to say.
Right. Well, with Constantine, it's we've got Matt Ryan, who we both love and enjoy. The TV series is really good,
and he voices
that's right. He voices the
animated version.
He's the only one that's voiced in the movie or in the animated films, right?
As far as I know, I don't think anyone else has voiced it,
which is great.
Yeah.
So he really enjoys playing that character.
I can see why. It seems like a fun character.
It does seem like a fun character.
They always say actors prefer to play the more bad guys, quote unquote. And I know Constantine's he's a good guy, but in a way he's a bad guy. So yeah, I could see where that would be a fun character to play.
Mm-hmm. Makes me think, are the British, are they always playing bad guys? They always make good bad guys. I still remember that car commercial. What was that car commercial? And they had all these British guys and how they were like the cars, and the British always play better bad guys, kind of a thing. I thought that was good.
We can talk to our friend Paul Bateman about that.
We can, by golly. We can probably have a good laugh about it with him. He's funny. And so would you, let's talk about if they do a Justice League Dark film. And eventually they probably will. But if we're understanding correctly, if I'm understanding correctly, dark really refers to the aspect we're moving into more the mystical. So within this story, Justice League Dark, you have the mystical part of it. So we've got, I guess, in Justice League Dark, Apocalypse War, you're dealing with Raven, Trigon, then bringing in Constantine and Santana.
Right.
Okay.
And I think the whole Dark title is a lot like the Suicide Squad, because the Suicide Squad isn't consistently the same team. They're constantly changing out characters, and we're gonna see that in Suicide Squad 2. That there's going to be different characters. I mean, we're going to get some of the staples. Of course, Harley has to be up front as part of the Suicide Squad, and I wouldn't want it any other way. I want Harley to be there every time. So I think with the Justice League Dark title, you're always going to get Constantine. I think he's the Harley Quinn of this team, Okay. And then we can see, then they can bring in other mystical, occultish type characters into the mix with Constantine. That's what I think the Justice League Dark title is. So anyone who reads the comic book, you can tell me if I'm wrong, because I haven't read it. But you know what? I think I might look that up on the DC Universe app and give that a go, because I think I would enjoy that title. I think it would be good.
Okay. Yeah, that would be, and it's Hellblazer and Constantine, right?
Well, yeah, those are the Constantines, but then there's a Justice League Dark comic book also. Just like there's a Suicide Squad comic book too.
Oh, I see where you're headed. Okay. Right. My brain was on the movies. On the Suicide movies.
Right.
But those is based on the comics. Okay, I gotcha. So do you think going back, do you think they'll do the movie? Justice League Dark?
Well, I know there had been talk of one. I don't know if they had the director, but I think things fell apart for it. I'm not sure. I'm not 100% sure. But again, like I said, I want Matt Ryan to play Constantine, and like you and I kind of had that discussion, and
right,
yeah, because I think it's going to be difficult to top his performance. I really do. I mean, I think Constantine fans are going to be upset if he's not in the film.
So here is an article from April 16th, 2020, so a year ago. J.J. Abrams is producing a Justice League Dark series I'm clicking the link, for HBO Max.
Okay. So that would go direct, that would be like a direct to HBO Max, direct to digital then. That probably wouldn't hit theaters then. See with that?
There's no details on it. So it's really hard to say.
Yeah. Yeah, I have no clue. And I wonder if
it's also unclear who's working on the project of those, or if those discussions have started. Abrams will produce the show as a Bad Robot production, but he hasn't announced whether he'll contribute any writing to the series. The Shape of Water director Guillermo del Toro, told Comic Book in 2019 that he co-wrote an entire script for a Justice League Dark movie for Warner Brothers years ago, but nothing ever came of it. He's done a lot of stuff, not just Shape of Water, but there was that Netflix series, Tales of Arcadia. He's known for, oh my goodness, now it's going to escape me because of my age. Guillermo del Toro. You'll recognize some of these movies that he's done. Okay, Shape of Water. Oh, yeah. Pan's Labyrinth.
Okay, all right.
Pan's Labyrinth. Hellboy.
I watched the original Hellboys. Now, is that the original Hellboys or this latest one?
No, the original.
Okay, because I didn't watch the latest one, and I heard the latest one was terrible.
I did watch the latest one.
Did you?
It was not as bad as people say it was, but it was not great.
Okay, all right. But it doesn't compare to the originals, right?
No, it doesn't. It really doesn't. Right. I mean, I'm sure where they were going with it, and it had great opportunity and great potential. Just something about it was just like, I don't know.
Yeah, Hellboy was cool.
Yeah, so I don't know if he's directed these, but the movies that he's associated with are Shape of Water, Pan's Labyrinth, Crimson Peak, Hellboy, Pacific Rim, Pinocchio 2021. I haven't seen anything on that yet. Kronos, Scary Stories to Tell in the Dark, Devil's Backbone, The Orphanage, Nightmare Alley, Hellboy 2, Mama, Pacific Rim Uprising, Antlers, that's 2021. I don't know about that. Blade 2. Boy, that was the edgy one too.
Oh, the Blade series was great.
The first one was good. Good introduction. The second one was edgy. It was good. Trinity was okay. Mimic, Book of Life, Hobbit, The Hobbit. Okay. Pacific Rim 3.
Wait a minute. He wrote The Hobbit?
Not that he wrote it. Let me see what he did.
Well, I know he didn't write it because J.R.R. Tolkien wrote The Hobbit, but
I don't know. Oh, I don't know what.
He had some involvement with The Hobbit, though.
He did. Let's see, production-wise. Oops, that didn't do that. I love looking at stuff on the internet while we're doing our podcast. Sorry about that. I'm sorry. I should stop doing that because I'll get sucked into it and then I'll forget. Oh, wait, we're recording right now. Kind of the thing. So
it's like those rabbit holes when you watch YouTube. It's like watch one video and then it says, "Oh, if you like this, you'll like this video," and then right. 2 hours later, you're going, "How did I get here?"
Right. So anyway, we're talking Constantine,
right?
But we were talking about if Guillermo del Toro said he wrote a script for a Justice League Dark movie, and I bet you that was good too because he's into that dark stuff. You know what I mean?
But J.J. Abrams is supposed to
produce it.
Okay.
Yeah, he's got.
But he not necessarily. It says that he isn't necessarily have anything to do with the writing, though. He's just producing it.
Correct. He's not writing. He's producing.
Huh.
It'll be interesting to see how that works out. I would like to see it. I would like to see another live action Constantine. And yes, in all fairness, I agree with you. I think Matt Ryan does a good job. That would be my druthers. I'm biased, but
I am too.
I really don't. I just don't see it. It's rare that you see a TV character jump to the movies and vice versa.
Yeah, but if Warner Brothers is smart, that's a big if.
That's funny.
They have a bad track record. I'm sorry.
Right?
Should we go back down the line of DC movies and the issues they've had in the past?
No.
Okay.
No.
All right. But we all know that they have their problems. So, being that said, I think you're probably right. They won't bring Matt Ryan in because they'll stick with this whole, we got to keep the TV separate from the movies. And I totally disagree with that. I don't
quite understand that. I don't understand this weird, and maybe it's just the nature of the industry that we just don't know or understand. That, you have the movie section, then you have.
Well, now we do have a gleam of light. There is because, what is it? Silver lining in the
shimmer of hope.
Right. We have a shimmer of hope because, the movie Flash, help me.
The guy who plays the Flash?
Yeah, thank you. Yes.
In the movie.
Yeah.
That guy. He was in the he appeared on the TV show, right?
Right. He made an appearance on the TV show as the Flash.
Ezra
Miller. Thank you. Ezra Miller made an appearance. Yeah. And Grant Gustin made an appearance together. They were both the Flash together on the TV side. So maybe there's a glimmer of hope that
they would bring him. I don't know, because if he did, well, I don't know. That's a good call.
And then do you have the other? There's always the question of contracts, and is there a contract issue that you can't bring Matt Ryan into the TV universe? And they've got all kinds of goofy, weird things. You can't bring this.
But at least we got him for the animated.
Yeah.
So,
well, and that's another thing. They were smart enough to realize that the TV actor is the one everyone wants the voice of, so we got to bring him into the animated stuff too. So I don't know if they're smart enough to realize that. They got to be smart enough to realize that this guy's going to bring fans in. He is.
If they do an HBO Max series, there's more percentage I could see that happening with an HBO Max series than I could see in.
I think the biggest problem could be contractual. Just because, it could have something to do with the CW versus HBO Max. That's where I see that there could be issues. Because we have no idea what the contract says.
Right.
CW may have it in their contract that their characters can't cross over into the movie realm. I would think that would be stupid. Because to me, it just, all you're doing is attracting more fans, in my opinion, if you do that.
Well, that's because you enjoy Matt Ryan. There may be some out there that that's like you saying you think Michael Keaton's the best Batman. I don't.
Well, you're wrong, but
I know I'm wrong. I know. I hear you. But my point being is that we just have different opinion. I think there may be someone who would love to see someone else play Constantine. Oh, there's a question for you. Who would you, if not Matt Ryan, who would make a good Constantine?
Well, he's already in the DC universe. I want the guy that played Dresden.
Oh, what is his name? Blackthorne.
Yeah, Blackthorne.
He's got a cool name too.
Yeah, Blackthorne. That almost sounds like a character in the Constantine universe itself.
It does. Let me look. Okay, I'm sorry, everybody. I'm doing the Google thing again. See, now you can have a podcast and do your stuff on the fly like we do.
Now the only thing with him is he's not a Brit, of course, and that's part of what I love about Matt Ryan is he's the Brit. So, and I love the accent. I just love all that British. You know.
Paul Blackthorne.
That's it, Paul Blackthorne. Yeah, he sounds like he could be a character in Constantine.
Right? Sure does.
I say bring him in.
Right?
That's it. I want to team up. I want a team up of Constantine and Dresden. Get Jim Butcher in here. I'll bet you Jim would be like, yeah, I'm all for that. Bring him in.
Right? Okay.
So DC and Jim Butcher, if you're listening, we want a Constantine Dresden team up. Yeah.
Mash up. There you go. Give
me both of them. That would be so awesome.
What's funny is if you had Paul Blackthorne as Constantine, then you've crossed the streams right there. Who else do you think would make a good Constantine?
Oh, man.
It's a good question.
It is a good question.
Honestly, I'm having a hard time thinking of someone. I really am. Even Paul Blackthorne, I didn't even think of him because I was like, well, one, he's Dresden. He's done Dresden, excuse me. He's done Dresden. I don't know. There may be some bleed over where Constantine is his own unique character.
Sure.
Now, I know Paul Blackthorne, his character in Arrow was dealing with alcoholism, was part of it. And I thought he acted that really well. So he does have the chops to deal with that kind of a subject. Gosh, who looks good in a trench coat?
I don't know. That's a good question.
See, I don't envy whoever has to do the casting for that.
And see, I'm not good at picking people to play other people. I'm just not good at it. I'll admit that.
Right. Well, yeah, I don't know if I could. I don't know if I could. I know I asked the question and it's on me.
And I think part of that's because Matt Ryan's so much in my head as the character that it's hard for me to pick somebody else to play him.
That's a good word. I agree with you because I think that's my issue too. Is whoever it is, I want to match them up against Matt Ryan.
Right. Could you imagine somebody else playing Luke Skywalker other than Mark Hamill?
Sebastian Stan.
All right. Bam. Okay. All right. You got me with that one. You got me there. Yeah. I'm not going to say Princess Leia either because there's a lot of people who've been wanting the girl from Stranger Things, which I think she could do a good young Princess Leia too. So yeah.
She's a good actress. I saw her in she produced it, was the Enola Holmes on Netflix. It's Bobby Brown.
That's it. Yeah.
Millie Bobby Brown.
Millie Bobby Brown. She's a good actress.
She is good, and she's hardworking, and to see her in that Enola Holmes, she did a good job.
She was in Godzilla too, in Godzilla versus King Kong.
That's right.
She was the people aspect of the movie you didn't like. that part of the movie that you didn't like.
That's right. Just give me the monsters. I don't need the people. Just give me the monsters.
That's true. My favorite was the podcasters. I loved him. Hey, would you be a guest on my podcast?
Right. That's because Mike says that all the time.
Yes, I do.
Podcast.
That's me in a nutshell.
Right.
At least this last 6 months it has been. That's for sure.
Yep. Well, I tell you what. I mean, that's. Gosh, I don't know where else we can go with Constantine at this time, because there is. We've talked about the movie a little bit. We didn't go into detail like we do with Bad Batch.
No, we didn't break it down or anything.
We didn't break them down. We didn't feel like the need to, but we did want to talk about the character himself.
I would say that those movies, though, the Justice League Dark, Apocalypse War, and City of Demons, all three of those are very good animated films. If you're
they do give you primers of his story.
Yeah.
And other character story of how, there's a connection with them, because it even brought up Swamp Thing.
Yeah.
And I didn't know that he first appeared in Swamp Thing.
Right.
Pretty cool.
I didn't know that until I watched Variant, but
that's all right.
Another one of my YouTubers that I frequent. So
yep.
Good, yeah. Eris Kionis is his name.
Yep.
Good reference for comic books, though. He does some great work. I like him. He does
good work.
So yeah, he helps me with some of my research. He may not know he helps me with my research, but
that's why we're giving him a shout out right now. So hey, check out his YouTube channel.
That's right. So Kionis, if you're listening, we would love to have you on the podcast.
There you go.
See, there we go. I identify with the guy from Godzilla.
Right. Well, Constantine is an intriguing character. I hope we learn more about him or do more with him. But I did want to talk about him from the aspect that he is an interesting character, and I think he is the link between DC world to the DC mystical world. And I'm interested to see the connection to, as I mentioned earlier, to Sandman.
Yeah, I didn't know that he's going to be
Netflix. Hey, I wonder if that's one of the things that Paul Bateman's working on.
Ooh. I bet you can't tell us.
Can't tell us. I mean, he said he's working on Netflix stuff, but he didn't say what, and he probably can't. Well, he can't say, of course.
Yeah, we were supposed to have Paul on. Was it last week? I think it was. And unfortunately, Paul couldn't. Well, actually, we had to reschedule.
Because he's working so much.
Yeah, he's working so much. That's a hard-working guy right there.
He really is.
So we're going to get Paul on again. I just don't know when. Hopefully soon. Yeah. And we're going to start up a new series with Paul. We're going to start up our classic sci-fi series. Which I'm excited. So
yep, that'll be good.
I won't give up what subjects we're going to go over just yet, because I want to wait till...
Not yet. Not till we record them. That's how you are. I like that aspect,
But
not till we record.
Once we record it...
Once they are recorded.
Yeah. Once we record it, I'll let you know. So, but yeah, that's coming. Classic sci-fi, 2 Geeks and a Microphone, classic sci-fi. That's coming up.
Yep. I like it. I like it a lot.
So if you got a suggestion for a classic sci-fi movie, TV show that you really enjoy, throw it up on our Facebook page, and we'll throw it around and see what we, see if me and Steven and Paul all like the idea, and we might run with it.
We can do. Yeah,
what we can do.
Absolutely.
I mean, Paul's got some great ideas. So
that he does.
Yeah. That's all right, man. That's a big brain there.
That it is. He is talented, by golly, and stuff. All right. Well, with that, we'll close it out. And hey, everybody, thanks for listening and hanging in there with us. Don't forget to check us out on twogeeksmike.com, and where it leads to all our other pages. Don't forget to check out our Facebook page where we are, as Mike said. Connect with us there. We love hearing from everybody and being corrected from time to time, as we mentioned at the beginning of the show. So, but then also our Ko-fi page, where it's kind of like Patreon, but it's Ko-fi, ko-fi.com. You can find us Two Geeks. And we've got extra stuff there, pictures and videos and all of our, there's certain ones that we've done videos of these podcasts. We've posted those, the ones that we feel like people really want to see, and let us know if there's a certain one you want to see too. So, all right, Mike, it's all you. We're on our way out.
Oh, hey, I'll throw this out there. Brian Bailey was the one who commented on our Batman post.
Nice. So, thanks, Brian. Shout out to you.
Thanks, Brian. Thanks for listening. We appreciate it.
Yep.
All right. So with that said, over and out. May the Force be with you. See you next time. Thank you for joining us today on the Two Geeks and a Microphone podcast. Tune in next week when we will have more news and reviews. Until then,
may the Force be with you.